I'm about to take y'all back, way back into time. NERDSoul. Late Ill Kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing you that StreetGeek and NERDSoul. What is up, my people, today? Oh yeah, we about to get into another wonderful episode of Talk Shop, and we are continuing our read-along of IDW's Ghostbusters. This time, we're getting into Displaced Aggression. We went through our main series with Dan Schoening and Eric Burnham, The Other Side, where, you know, they're dealing with the mobsters and everything, and now we get a little more family drama. You see, from the first movie, Big Bad Gozer's Big Bad Daddy has shown up to take on the Ghostbusters. And first up, I'll say that when it comes to family, Gozer's family holds him down. I mean, we've seen his sister now, we've seen her father, and we got a little extra treat inside this as well, where we'll find out a little more family stuff. But his father comes, Koza'Rai attacks the Ghostbusters. The Ghostbusters are sort of holding their own, but to get them out of his way, he displaces them throughout time. You know, you got Peter in the Old West, you got Ray in like medieval times. He sends Egon to the future, and Winston just stays in New York. That's where we start this story. You have Peter in the Old West. He's actually kind of ghost busting with these strange, demonic figures and zombie-looking creatures in the Old West. And he seems, no worse for wear, except for the fact that he knows that he's like 125 years from the future. And it kind of bugs him that he's not exactly able to figure out how to get back. But don't worry your pretty little heads. Rachel comes in and she seems to be almost ex machina, if you will. But she shows up, she's ghost busting with him. He's trying to figure out who the heck she is. And she tells him that, hey, I met your boy Egon at a lecture at college, and I'm here to save your butt. So she does that because she's hooked up the Ecto-10 in some kind of DeLorean fashion to be able to travel throughout time and place and all that good stuff. And it's very interesting to see the relationship between Pete and Rachel, because Rachel is an X factor that we haven't seen before and we don't really know too much of. And from Pete's perspective, without knowing where Egon and Ray or Winston are, it's kind of hard to trust her, even though she's pretty, and he makes that known. But they save the town, of course, the Old West. You got to save the town and walk off into the sunset, and they head off to save Ray. And the cool thing about Ray is he's chilling with King Arthur. Now, seriously, King Arthur is about what you'd expect. He's noble, he can fight, dude's got grit, but, ghosts are a little bit out of his purview, maybe a little above his pay grade, if you will. I mean, this is still medieval times, and I'm not talking about the restaurant, I'm talking about the real deal. When Pete and Rachel show up, they hold them up with swords, and they don't even let them out of their sight until Pete says that he knows Ray. And it's weird because Ray doesn't even really seem like he's tripping that he's in another time. He's almost like excited about it. But you know how Ray is. He's like formulating and thinking and wondering and trying to figure out how to get out of here, but also enjoying the wonder of being in this time. And you get to find out that all of these different spaces and all of these different places have almost chosen them, if you will. Even though, of course, Koza'Rai sent them there. So we flash back a little bit to see Winston back in New York, kind of holding it down on the gritty streets of New York, beating down gargoyles with just a bat. I mean, this dude has turned into like the sledgehammer of the Ghostbusters. And I hate to say this because this is not a diss on the rest of the team. Everybody has their skills. But since Winston is an ex-Marine, I think it's probably best that Winston was left in the past, or I guess in the future, or I guess in the present, because I don't think Egon can handle that. I don't think Ray can handle that. Pete might have been able to talk his way out of it, but Winston is probably the true hero of the Ghostbusters, just as a fighting force. But we see that each of these times have their own issue. In this particular issue, in medieval times, Ray is dealing with demonic ghost dragons. And I'm not talking about ghost dragons in the 2016 film. I'm talking about real ghost dragons. Like, these things are not playing around. And King Arthur's, I guess, stepsister is at the head of all this, trying to kind of focus all of this evil energy to make herself powerful and, of course, rule and control the world. I mean, everybody wants to control the world, man. Why we can't just live together? But, of course, her plans get cut short because our man Peter does what? Of course, tricks her with the cool words and the easy swag and the laid-back vibe. Now, before we finish our ride off into the sunset, I gotta remind you that you can find me on Black Hollywood Live. That's right, the first online network for African Americans. Extremely dope. You can find celebrity interviews, after show, sports talk, geek, nerd, tech at blackhollywoodlive.com. They got all kinds of cool stuff from day to day. And they also have live streams that you can check out online at youtube.com/blackhollywoodlive. So, we've saved Peter, we saved Ray, and now it's time to save Egon. Now, see, Egon has been displaced to the future, not the past. And it's weird because not only is he in the future, but, how should I say this? He's on another planet. He's in Mars. And I guess the displacement to the future has changed his mind so much that he's not really Egon anymore. He's like this almost Wizard of Oz type character, but he still protects the people from these demonic meteor showers. And it's interesting to see these because the attacks from ghosts are getting different. They're getting varied. They're actually expanding on the lore in this book once again. Like, in the other side, we got, like this criminal element and this kind of like, really gangster vibe. And now in this, we're getting a more creative and colorful type of attack and type of, I guess you could say, roll credits, aggression from these demonic and ghostly forces. And it's just interesting to see something like that because I guess you'd never think of a ghostly meteor shower, but Egon has protected them. And it's weird because in being their Wizard of Oz type character, he's also kind of mean. And he almost gets Pete, Ray, and Rachel arrested. And that's because since he was sent to the future, that changed his mind. Like, that completely turned his brain and rewired his synapses and all that mess. And he's not really Winston anymore, but he does turn back, so you don't have to worry about that. But he doesn't turn back to his normal Egon until we get him back to the present in his normal time where he's supposed to be. And he even wakes up and is like, yo, man, I could see myself doing these things, but I don't know how I was doing this. And it's good that we get to save Egon. We get to keep Egon the way we know and love him. And once they get back, man, they get back to New York, you know what it is. We got to reunite the team, and Winston comes through. Ray is there. Egon is there. Pete is there. Rachel's there. And we're all back together again. The Ghostbusters are now here to take down Koza'Rai. And that's the cool part about this book, is because it really builds up your anticipation for this moment that they meet back up together again, because they're separate for so long. Now, of course, we're reading along, but I'm not going to give away everything just in case somebody hasn't gotten that far with all these books. So at the end, of course, there is a showdown of, if you could say it, epic proportions with Koza'Rai and a lot of his little minions, because his little minions, they don't like humans. But I'll just say this, the Ghostbusters definitely bring the pain. So, guys, holla at me. I'm gonna holla at you down in them comments. What do you think about Ghostbusters Displaced Aggression. For me, I know this is still before the main series, so we haven't exactly gotten to the Ghostbusters that I'm used to, but this one is a lot more cartoonish than the other side. So the art style I enjoyed a bit more. The only thing is this isn't as spot on as the Dan Schoening art and everything is for me, but I still enjoyed this, like the colors and stuff, a lot more than I enjoyed in the other side. But I will say the other side still has a lot of merit because of the lore that it brought. Like, I'd never imagined Ghosts kind of running a criminal organization, so that was cool. So definitely check out the other side for its just like expansion of like what Ghost can be and what Ghost can do. And for this one, this is a fun tale of kind of rebuilding the Ghostbusters and figuring out who they are without each other and figuring out who they are together. I think that's pretty cool. So before I go, I got a real cool thing for you. Right now, Siafu Comics is running a Kickstarter for Sinistra. They got art by Andy Fish, colors by Sally Scott, and it's created by a girl, Jessica DeWitt. Now, on this Kickstarter, you get to see a lot of your cool fantasy elements of someone transitioning, someone transforming, and becoming part of a prophecy, if you will. See, in the preview that I reviewed a long time ago, we get these four brothers that are on this boat. The boat honestly just shipwrecks, something goes wrong, and they are kind of like lost at sea, if you will. And in this issue, what we're going to see is them kind of finding themselves on this island, finding themselves out here in this wilderness, and one of the brothers actually turning into this weird immortal creature and figuring out what he's going to do or why he's going to be like this and what his responsibility is and if he's part of a prophecy. Now, the artist got me. I really enjoyed the story from the preview. I'll put that link down below. But what I think you should definitely check out is the Kickstarter. If you're into fantasy, if you're into like monsters, if you're into stories of people being, of course, this issue, displaced. If you're interested in people being displaced and trying to figure out who they are and what their place is with their new circumstances, I think Sinistra is for you. So, of course, guys, hit that link below. Check out that Kickstarter because I think it could be a lot of fun. That art looks, to me, dope. I'm really feeling it for that style. I'm loving the colors. So, guys, check out Sinistra. Figure out what you want to be when you become an immortal creature. And then holler at me, let me know down in the comments below. Would you be good or would you be bad? So that's my time and I'm going to holler at y'all later. But hit up ThatNERDSoul.com. That's right. Check me out. All my videos are there from the oldest, newest, latest, greatest, and all of that. Then hit up shop.ThatNERDSoul.com and pick yourself up a t-shirt, player. And don't forget to get one for them playettes. Then come back here, like, comment, subscribe, and share that Nerd Soul. That's right. There's no better way that I can tell people that you like what you are watching. And of course, my shout outs go to LA, what up? VA, what up? RVA, you got my heart. And please, man, be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And of course, if there's something strange in your neighborhood, you know who you gotta call. Peace.